It's common in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri. The films we commit to memory. Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spin-off podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds of exclusive episodes, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Recently, I once again kind of streamlined the tiers on Patreon. So now instead of having individual tiers for individual things like Stephen King or science fiction or whatever, there are just 3 tiers there. They all get the same stuff. You can either pledge at $5, $7, or $10, and you get access to the whole thing. Over on Patreon, I am in the midst of doing my Back Half Blind Spots series, which is a series of reviews of movies that I did not catch or in my first 40 years of life, or watched long enough ago that I never rated them on Letterboxd. So basically, I turned 40 last month, and I have committed to basically filling as many blind spots as I can while I'm still breathing. So that is the plan. And over on that side of things, at Back Half Blind Spots, I have reviewed, as I mentioned last time, I reviewed Cool Hand Luke and Remember the Days, which was it's a small indie teen comedy. But anyway, recently, a couple of weeks ago, I reviewed Lawrence of Arabia, which you'll hear about later in this episode, and Once Upon a Time in China. And this week, I did a review of Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. Boys in the Hood, I got to check out at the Can Theater. Was amazing. A brilliant movie. So I reviewed that this week on Back Half Blind Spots. And then coming this Monday, I will be talking about Peter Bogdanovich's directorial debut, Targets, with Boris Karloff, and also Tower, the documentary about the 1966 mass shooting event at the University of Texas. That was actually the kind of drew a lot of inspiration for Peter Bogdanovich making Targets. So an interesting double feature to bring us into episode 4 of Back Half Blind Spots. Once again, you can sign up for that and a bunch more content over at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And if you want to support us without messing around with Patreon or just make a one-off donation, you can always go to buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer and make a payment there. So this week on the show, later on, we're going to have, instead of a secondary review, we're going to have a special Patreon exclusive review from my aforementioned Back Half Blind Spots project, where I'm basically going to be, like the second half of this episode is going to be me reviewing Lawrence of Arabia from that series. So if you like what you hear in the latter part of this episode, consider signing up on Patreon for more. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and Indianapolis screenings before reviewing the latest Christopher Nolan movie, The Odyssey, in this week's feature review. And joining me this week is my co-host, who can be followed on Letterboxd, his frequently updated and up-to-date Letterboxd at the handle of Obsessive Tiny. It's Tiny. Welcome back, Tiny. How's it going, Tiny?
I literally just updated my Letterboxd, so
nice.
With a whopping 4 entries. So
that is, honestly, that's 2 more than I thought you were going to say.
Hold your horses, everybody. Don't spoil it all at one. Don't spend it all in one place.
Yes. I'm going to it now because not because I want to double check, but I want to be proactive and supportive. What did you think of Old Henry?
It was really good. I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Total like a nice little surprise movie.
Nice.
Didn't really know anything about it. So what is not logged on my Letterboxd is the I'm not exaggerating, daily watches of Monsters Inc. for my daughter.
Oh yeah.
So I've watched Monsters Inc. probably 40 to 50 times in the last handful of months. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like randomly after the last time we were talking on the podcast for Disclosure Day, when you mentioned that your daughter says monsters, that has popped up in my head occasionally, just like randomly, because I'm fucking weird. But anyway, so yeah, it's very very cute.
Yeah, it's a great. Like, I'm actually not sick of it. Like, it's such a great movie.
Nice.
And yeah, we've been quoting it all the time. So
nice.
Yeah, we're always like, these are the jokes, kid. Like, we say that all the time. Or like, when she doesn't want to eat her food, this is the food, kid. Like, we say that all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Nice. Oh, wow. So here in 5 years or so, she can be a guest on the podcast.
For sure. Yeah.
Nice.
We've tried to get her to like other movies, and she just hasn't really gotten into it. So
yeah. Wow. So I know that when was it, like a year or so ago, you took her to the Speedway, like outdoor screening of Elf, was it?
Yeah.
Has she been in a theater environment since then, or
no, she has not. No, nothing.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know when that threshold's going to be met. I don't know when I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to take her to go see a movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
So she's not going to go see the Odyssey with you again.
Not so much. Yeah.
How horrible would that be to take her to the State Museum in 70 millimeter?
I'd get looks. I'm sure I'd get some looks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. People would be like, why you're ruining the experience? And you're just like, dude, the story's like 3,000 years old. Like, it's okay. We know what's gonna happen.
It's literally a tale as old as time.
Yes. Well, that's exciting that you have updated your letterboxd, and I look forward to keeping an eye on it some more, because I'm, again, really weird. So yeah, aside from like Monsters Inc. and everything, like what else have you been up to in terms of watching stuff or consuming any of any media?
I really haven't been watching a lot. I mostly I'm just super busy with work, so I've been like a lot of my attention goes to that, and even when my attention's not on that, I can't focus my attention on anything very well. Especially with a 2-year-old running around. So I kind of goof off on my phone a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube just to kind of have it on, It's not great. Like, I wish I could focus on things. Like Paige went to dinner over the weekend, and I was home with the kiddo, and put her to bed early because she didn't nap that day. So she went to bed early, and I was like, I gotta watch a movie. But then I was just like, I don't have the energy. And plus, I mean, there's a NASCAR race on, and then the World Cup game. So I was like, I'm just going to throw on some sports and kick back. And I fell asleep.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Honestly, like that, I mean, obviously, I don't have any context for what it's like to raise a child that's not covered in fur. But like, that's totally, like, I get it. Like, at least I can understand how, because especially with like work, and like you just recently got like more responsibilities at work and everything, and like for a behind the scenes thing for the listeners, like we were supposed to record last night, but you had a work emergency.
I did.
So yeah. So anyway, we're adults. Meanwhile, I've spent the whole month working from home because my company lets us work from home all month in July. So pretty nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been nice. Couple of bees have gotten into my apartment, which I'm not a fan of.
Damn. Burn it down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But speaking of things that are related to bees, let's talk about the bee's knees of movie theaters in Indianapolis and the things that they are going to be showing coming up soon. Do you want to talk about what's playing in Indy coming up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, nice. So we've actually got a lot of stuff in. This is not really a plug for Patreon again, but because of the back half blind spots project that I'm doing, I am keeping an eye on repertory screenings of older movies so I can fill those gaps. Like Lawrence of Arabia, I saw at the Alamo. Once Upon a Time in China, I saw at the Alamo. And coming up, there are several movies that I'm going to be seeing at the Alamo and at the Can specifically for this project. So let's start with the Alamo Drafthouse in Indy on the west side. Of course, this weekend, Sunday, it is the third Sunday of the month. So that means they're going to have trivia with my friend and IFJ colleague Lou Harry hosting it on Sunday at 6 p.m. Really great time. I can't speak highly enough about it. Really inventive questions of varying degrees of difficulty, and also it's new questions, it's new stuff. They're not working off of a set list of questions. Like these are questions that are just created and categories that are created for each trivia night, and it's a big thing. If you win, you can play alone or play with a group, but you could win free passes and free popcorn and stuff. So, and it's free to enter. So check that out at Alamo Drafthouse on the west side on Lafayette Road, first and third Sunday of each month at 6:00. So yeah, I've participated in trivia twice. Once we won, and I used the free ticket to see, I think, Lawrence of Arabia Lawrence of Arabia.
Nice.
A couple of weeks ago. Yep. But things that you can see at the Alamo that it's only going to be at the Alamo. This is a long list, so bear with me. On July 22nd, so that's next Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. The 22nd, they're going to be showing Snake Eyes, Brian De Palma's Nick Cage movie. I might see that. I think it's Tuesday, but I might see that because it is on my list, my back half blind spots. Then next weekend on the 25th and 26th, 25th, they're showing Cinema Paradiso, which I am going to. And on the 26th, on Sunday, they're showing Rashomon, which I am definitely going to. Very excited for that. And then on the 29th, they're showing Casualties of War. And then on August 2nd, in the lead up to Jane Schoenbrun's Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma that's coming out, they are showing Jane Schoenbrun's I Saw the TV Glow, my favorite movie of 2024, on August 2nd. And their previous movie, We're All Going to the World's Fair, is going to be playing at the Alamo on August 4th. If I hadn't just seen the VHS screening of I Saw the TV Glow at the Can last month, I would be very tempted to go see it again in the theater at the Alamo. But probably going to skip that one, but highly, highly recommend it, obviously. And then a couple days later, on August 5th, they're showing The Untouchables. And on August 9th, they're showing Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which was my favorite movie of 2023.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. That's what's all going on at the Alamo. I have a link to the Alamo website in the show notes of this episode. And then over at the Can Theater this Friday and next Tuesday, I think, the 21st, they are showing Michael Mann's Thief, which is a movie I've never seen and I will be seeing on the 17th, today. If you're listening to this day of release, hoping I get this released tomorrow. So they're showing Thief. And then on July 22nd, they're showing Heat, which is very tempting to go to that. They're also showing Barbed Wire on July 18th and Drive on July 19th. Yeah. So that's over at the Can. Go check them out, cancanindy.com. And then rounding out what's playing in Indy on Wednesday, July 22nd. It's Wednesday, July 22nd at Keystone Art. They're showing The Dark Knight. And on Wednesday, July 29th, they're showing The Dark Knight Rises. So, that's what's all playing around in Indy. Tiny, any thoughts on that rambling words that I worded?
Man, there's a lot going on. There
is.
I need to get out more. But no, Cinema Paradiso. I have not seen that movie in so long.
Yeah, me neither. I'm very much excited about it because it's one of those that it's on my list for my project, but it's one that I have seen multiple times, but it's been, I mean, I'm trying to look up discreetly when I last saw it, but I saw it long enough ago that I never rated it on Letterboxd. But oh wow, I haven't seen it since sometime before 2007. Apparently.
Oh, that's probably about the same for me, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited. And of course I'm going to be covering it on Patreon. But yeah, July 25th. If you're free, you can join me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is what's going on over in the various places in Indianapolis. Tiny, before we get to our Odyssey review, would you like to go over a few bits of news before the reviews?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. So we've got a few things. First, because I am a stupid consumer and everything. I mentioned last time on the podcast that the Criterion sale is ongoing throughout this month at Barnes & Noble. So 50% off all Criterion discs that are in stock. That runs through, I think, July 26th. So last time I talked about how I bought some things, and this time I'm going to talk about some other things that I bought through it because I'm crazy, and also it's very terrible timing for me because I'm very much in the zone with my Patreon project. So it's like, oh, I can blind buy all of these movies and then watch the special features and stuff, which I'm very much enjoying doing. But it's like, oh man, it's a lot of money. So anyway. I'm going to go ahead and share my latest Criterion haul. So here we go. I'm going to show them for the video people. So what's up? It's your boy, Matt. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So first up, I bought the Blu-ray edition of Peter Bogdanovich's The Last Picture Show, which is a great movie and a great purchase on my part, although a little stupid purchase because I own it digitally, but I'm buying it for the special features as well. Like there are, I think, two different commentary tracks, as well as Texasville, which is the sequel to The Last Picture Show that was made in, when was it? To 80 something, 1990. So I'm very excited to check that out because I didn't even know that like existed until like a few years ago. So I'm excited to check that out. Honestly, like I think I talked about this before, I think I talked about it on Patreon, but since getting Targets, and not knowing anything about that movie, and I went through the special features, like it's great. And I listened to the commentary with Peter Bogdanovich, and I'm just like, I can listen to that man talk about movies like all day. So I'm excited to check out the special features on Last Picture Show.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's the one that I have already seen, because I've seen The Last Picture Show several times. It's not in contention for my Patreon project, but it's a great movie nonetheless. The next movie that I bought, like the rest of these, I just got 3 more. They're all blind buys and particularly tied to my Patreon project. But this one is funny because I have a funny anecdote about the backstory of it. But I got the Blu-ray of Raging Bull. With oh my God, Robert De Niro, directed by Scorsese. Funny story. I've never seen Raging Bull, and I remember vividly, Tiny, years in like decades ago. Basically, I remember that I feel like you were getting rid of like some DVDs or something, and you gave me Raging Bull on DVD.
That sounds familiar now, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like over 10, 15 years ago. Never watched it. I no longer own that DVD. So hopefully I can rectify that.
Nice.
But thank you, Tiny.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And then the third movie I got is the Blu-ray of On the Waterfront. Again, never seen it. but very excited to check it out. I'm excited too because I'm going to pair it with Sorcerer for Patreon. So that's going to be coming out, I think next, not this. It's going to be episode 5, so it's going to be like next week, after Targets and Tower. So very excited to check that out. And obviously, like I've been talking about before, throughout this, I am very excited to check out the special features as well. Because that's something that I know that I'm retreading on things that I already talked about, but like the magic of physical media is not just a consumerism thing or capitalism thing or anything, but it's just that something that this was sparked by like Obsession coming out and all of the behind the scenes stuff that people were posting on TikTok from the people that were making the movie. Just like physical media is like, we're losing a lot of that like special feature stuff, behind the scenes stuff, which is like that's, it holds a special place in my heart, and I know it holds a special place in your heart too, Tiny, because that's a big part of like where we learned about movies, and that's where we like, it fed into just like our appreciation for movies, and is the reason why a big part of the reason why I do this and we do this. Likely, I'm not to speak for you, Tiny.
No, you're good.
But yeah.
I miss my physical collection. It was just something about it's kind of like the same kind of aesthetic as like vinyl, right? It has a cover art, and you take the plastic off and you open it up, and it has a distinct smell, and just it's another way for the art to find you, the art of a movie to find you.
Absolutely. Well said. Absolutely. And it's funny because I don't think I mentioned this last time, but one of the criterions that I've owned for years is the big Godzilla Showa era box set, which like the packaging of it is it's very beautiful, but it's very big. It's like a very thin like coffee table book sort of look. So what I did recently was I went on Etsy and I bought like a Blu-ray case, specific, like a customized one that has the cover art that someone like put together, cover art for that box set. So I bought that, and then I have the actual discs from the box set in that case. So it's like I have like a regular size Blu-ray edition of it. And my plan is that I'm gonna mount the original case on my wall somehow. I don't know if I'm gonna frame it because I want to probably read the materials inside, but maybe get like a little shelf or something and just like display it up there because it's nice and big and beautiful.
Cool.
And so go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's also funny that I'm surprised that I have seen the 2 movies that you haven't seen.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm very curious if you've seen this last movie. Because
okay. One more.
I will. Yeah, one more. I will say, to be completely honest, I didn't know what this movie was. Like, I don't think I'd ever really heard of it. And then I saw like some people talking about it for the Criterion sale, and also a friend of the show and frequent guest, Brent Luthold, is I think a big fan of this. He bought the Blu-ray of it as well, and I saw him log it on Letterboxd and did like 5 stars, and I was like, oh, okay, I should definitely see this then. But it is Brian De Palma's Blowout with John Travolta and Nancy Allen. Do you know this movie? Have you seen this movie, Tiny?
Yeah, I saw it years ago.
Nice.
I think I saw the. No, I've never even heard of it. I have no idea what it is.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you. I have no idea.
I thought for sure you were being serious.
I have no clue what that is.
Yeah, I'll read the back of it. Screw it. In the enthralling Blowout, brilliantly crafted by Brian De Palma, John Travolta gives one of his greatest performances as a movie sound effects man who believes he has accidentally recorded a political assassination. So I'm very excited to check this out because obviously I'm an audio nerd, but also, again, the special features and stuff. It also includes De Palma's 1967 feature Murder a la Mode, which I know nothing about. But so I'm excited to check that out as well. That's why I'm going to hopefully maybe try to get to the Alamo to see Snake Eyes, because if I see Snake Eyes and Blowout, I'll just package that together and do back half blind spot episode for it. So
there you go. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that is what I've got from Criterion, like the Criterion collection from Barnes and Noble. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm also, this is lame and it feels weird, but I have like a Criterion like wish list on Amazon that I'm going to kind of keep, because when they do the Barnes and Noble sales, Amazon matches it, so like everything's 50% off for Criterion on Amazon too. So some of these I bought through Amazon, but I have a wish list on there. So I'm just gonna put the link to that wish list in the show notes of the episodes and on Patreon. So if anyone wants to gift me any of them, the link is there. So
Nice.
anyway, yeah. Patreon.com/obsessiveviewer as well. So that is my haul from Criterion at Barnes & Noble. It's also bad that I live around the corner from a Barnes & Noble also. So, yeah. And yet I still ordered some from barnesandnoble.com. So, mostly because I didn't want to like go and check and see if they were in stock and then buy them and everything. But
Yeah.
So I'll talk more about those in the next episode, or maybe the episode after that, because I don't think they're going to be here until the 26th or something. But anyway, yeah. What do you think, Tiny?
I can't even think the last time I watched it like a Criterion movie. Like it's been, I don't know, because I got rid of my physical collection. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I will put another plug in for Criterion Channel also, because I recently resubscribed to that, and that's the other thing. And I think at this point I'm very much recounting verbatim stuff that I said in the last episode, but the Criterion Channel is great because it does have like a lot of special features and commentary tracks and stuff. So like I watched the Criterion commentary track for High and Low like in the background while I was working from home.
Nice.
I didn't log it because I didn't technically watch it. I just listened to it. So,
Okay.
but yeah, anyway. So that's that for that. Two other news pieces, and this is going to be a very bad pivot because it's a very much a downer topic, but Sam Neill passed away.
He did.
Yeah, it came out that he had pneumonia. Of course, he had battled cancer for a number of years, I believe, and then he was cancer free, but obviously that took a very big toll on his immune system, and he ended up becoming sick and died from pneumonia, I believe. So, just wanted to take a moment to just pay our respects to Sam Neill. Obviously, for me, the biggest role from him was Jurassic Park. Formative for me. That was one of the first movies I remember seeing in a movie theater. I remember the excitement about going to the movie theater to see it. And of course, he's been in other stuff too. So, any thoughts on Sam Neill's passing, Tiny?
Yeah, I kind of I saw a tribute video to him on social media, and it just kind of forgot how prolific he really was. He's been around forever. Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea that he was a Kiwi.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I thought he was British, but I had no clue. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Dark Horse favorite performance of his is actually Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That movie's so fucked up in the best way, and
yeah,
he's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see that again. I also I want to see In the Mouth of Madness because I've heard great things about it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. So rest in peace to Sam Neill, and yeah, I recommend checking out any of his work. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the final piece of news, this is not confirmed yet or anything. It's kind of conjecture, but it's something that I've been thinking about for the past week or so. But there was a report that Letterboxd is on the market to be sold, and they are, from the sound of it, one of the big potential buyers is Netflix, which I posted this and I said this before all over the place, but I cannot overstate how much I do not want that to happen.
Yeah.
Like, at all. I don't know. It's been bothering me. It's been weighing on my mind. So what do you think of this news of Netflix potentially buying Letterboxd? Yeah. What do you make of it, Tiny?
A huge bummer, because it's such a grassroots thing. Just like and it's at its core, it's like a grassroots thing, like a it's an app about movies by movie fans, which is, I know, kind of a cliche thing to say, but you can tell, like, if you look at the quirkiness of their website and their user interface and everything, and if you look at how they kind of market and their social media and stuff, it's you can tell it's like a personal thing. Like, it feels like a family business, right? That's what it feels like. And I feel like if it gets sold to some, corporate dickhead, it's going to totally lose that. And they'll try to maintain it, and it'll just very quickly fade away, and all the charm that it has. Yeah. Just go back to Excel.
Exactly. Like, it is a good point it's a good reminder for everyone that Letterboxd does allow you to export all of your information. So I recommend doing that regularly, regardless. But that, like, so one of the things that I read, I don't remember if this was a comment or this was in an article or whatever, but there was talk about how, like, this is either a good thing, or it's something that the reason why like Netflix is wanting to sell it or wanting to buy it is because that means that they can position their movies on Letterboxd more prominently and really get the word of mouth and everything. And, like, I get that rationale, but there was also comparisons made to, like, Rotten Tomatoes, and, like, I feel like that's not comparable, because while Rotten Tomatoes does have audience reviews and everything, it is primarily like a place where people find, like, professional critics reviews, like an aggregate of critic reviews. And Letterboxd is very much more geared towards cinephiles and people who, like, love movies. So, like, I can understand. I don't think it's something that's going to be positioned to be in competition with Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is all that great anyway, but I don't know. It just feels. What I'm getting at is, leave it alone. Leave Letterboxd alone.
Yeah.
Like, it is the one like social media platform that I actually like and love, and, like, I don't know. It's such a bummer. And I guess they were bought, like, years ago by this private equity company, and, like, it hasn't changed much since then. But, like, I don't know. Netflix, I don't like this. I don't like it. Yeah,
I don't love it either. And, Netflix's genesis is kind of a, fun little startup kind of thing, and it still feels. Netflix still has some feels of being kind of a small company. I know it's not, but it's not some giant conglomerate company with, like, 50,000 employees around the world. I mean, I don't know the numbers, obviously, but I imagine Netflix probably runs on 1,500 employees.
I would say that I think you're very much wrong on that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, in terms of, like, the actual Netflix platform and stuff, like, maybe, but I mean, you've got to also consider they're producing movies, they're doing, like, it is very far reaching in terms of, like, the scope of what all they do. So for them to, like, swallow up Letterboxd just really doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I just Googled it, because we have the internet. 16,000 people, so I was way off.
Oh, okay.
But that does
16,000?
Yeah, that does include, like, the production services, though. So, like,
okay.
But I wasn't.
Well, you said like 15,000. You were close.
I said like 1,500.
Oh, 1,500. Oh, yeah. Jesus. Okay.
Right. I wasn't thinking about, like, how they make their own movies and shows and stuff, but
Yeah.
Anyways,
I several of the like comedy podcasts I listened to were on the Earwolf Network, which their offices, like where they were recording, was right across the street from Netflix headquarters. And so on the podcast, they would like mention in passing about it. Apparently, they have a really good cafeteria at the Netflix building, I guess. But they like a lot of those comedy people like would go and pitch shows and movies and stuff to Netflix. But they mentioned how like when you go in, there's like a wall that is like playing like footage from like a Netflix show or property or something. I don't know if it's just like trailers, but it's like a floor to ceiling wall that's just like boom showing Netflix. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully it keeps its home.
Yeah, I hope so. And if it does get bought out or anything, please let it not change. Yeah. And that also reminds me just slightly, and then we'll get into our Odyssey review. But one of the movies that I watched a couple nights ago for Patreon was The Apartment, Billy Wilder's movie from 1960 or 61. And I loved it. Oh my God. Amazing movie. But Letterboxd has, I feel like I've often thought like it would be fun to do like a jokey account. And fun, I say in whatever, in italics, but to do like Gen Z movie reviews and just be like the most surface level, like I was looking at my phone while this movie was playing kind of reaction. But for some reason, I had the very, very wise idea to look at the 1.5 star reviews for The Apartment on Letterboxd. And I like, there are certain things on Letterboxd that like, if someone just posts like one-liner jokey reviews, I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And then they get thousands and thousands of likes, but whatever. But they're like, in The Apartment, there was a plot line involving a suicide attempt. And it is a big part of the movie. It is something that ushers us into the second half of the movie. It brings the characters to a very vulnerable place and really develops the connection between them and everything. And I looked at some of those half-star reviews, and there were so many that all they said were something to the effect of, like, this movie makes light of suicide. It's like, watch the movie. Like, watch, like, what are you talking about? Like, that is the turning point of the movie. Like, that's where, like, you see Shirley MacLaine be at her absolute most vulnerable, and why, like, the moment where Jack Lemmon kind of turns around and is like, you see what he could be for her and why she doesn't see who he is because of what he does. It's so much more nuanced than like, it makes light of suicide. Like, no, it fucking doesn't. Watch the fucking movie. So anyway, I had to get it off my chest.
Have to be offended by something.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not that I'm one of those guys, but I'm just saying, like, there's always the crowd that's like, well, I didn't. Yeah, this was offensive, or this was in bad taste, or so. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, more on The Apartment in an upcoming episode on Patreon. But speaking of being offended and canceling people, let's cancel this Homer guy and let's review the Odyssey. Tiny, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Nice. All right. So we're going to be reviewing the Odyssey. It is in theaters as of today, July 17th, 2026. It is written and it's directed by Christopher Nolan and written by Christopher Nolan and Homer, based on the epic poem by Homer. Of course, we're going to do a non-spoiler review followed by a spoiler review, and I will play a stinger when we switch over to spoilers, and you can check the show notes for timestamps and all of that. But the premise, according to IMDb, is After the Trojan War, Odysseus faces a dangerous voyage back to Ithaca, meeting creatures like the Cyclops, Polyphemus, Sirens, and Calypso along the way. And the cast includes, here we go, the cast includes Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Elliot Page, Samantha Morton, John Bernthal, Hamish Patel, and Mia Goth. So, Tiny, you and I had the distinct pleasure of being able to see an advanced screening of this at the Indiana State Museum on the largest screen in the state, in one of the only IMAX theaters equipped to show the film on 70 millimeter on film. Let's talk about the Odyssey briefly. If you want to just say your thoughts on Nolan. I mean, we've covered him extensively on the podcast, but let's kind of keep that contained. How do you feel about like Oppenheimer now 3 years removed from it?
So I've seen Oppenheimer twice, and I saw it at that same theater, and then I saw it at home, and it holds up incredibly well. I think just to briefly touch on it, Nolan, why I appreciate him, I've appreciated him throughout the years for multiple reasons, and I still stand by those reasons. I still love those reasons. But today, to me, what's so important about Nolan is his dedication to practicality. He films on locations. They use, they build sets, they build props. I just looked at this movie. They made over 5,000 costumes for this movie.
Jeez.
It's just incredible. They designed musical instruments that died centuries ago, and no one knows what they even looked like or how they sounded. So it's like, you don't get that with a lot of movies anymore. And so I don't know if that's just the elder millennial in us or in me coming out, but I think it shows on the screen. I think it gives you a certain aesthetic. It gives you a unique package amidst the cacophony of CGI that we're hit with. Not that I hate that. I don't. I mean, that's right. Those movies can be incredible, but it's just, I think the practicality as a fan of what filmmakers do, I think he's one of the best, if not the best, right now.
Nice. Well said. It's funny. I agree. He's doing things that I don't think any other filmmaker is really doing right now. And a big part of that is I do agree with you that, yeah, it's, there is a lot of technology out there. There's a lot of like CGI and everything. And that has its place, and that is an advancement to the craft. There's no questioning of that whatsoever. But what I love about what Nolan does is his, like you said, his commitment to practical effects and his commitment to, like, kind of almost to preserving the old guard of filmmaking. Like, making sure, like, not even preserving the old guard in terms of, like, shooting on IMAX cameras and shooting on film and like committing to that, but to doing so in a way that he keeps outdoing himself. And so he's not just preserving like an old-fashioned style or anything, but he's pushing it to its limits. Like, this is the first movie filmed entirely in IMAX. And that achievement is mind-boggling to me. It is insane how much work went into that, because IMAX cameras are notoriously massive and loud, and it's why IMAX movies are like filmed for IMAX is like, oh, there's a few key sequences that are shot in IMAX, and that's why we get the aspect ratio shifting in IMAX movies like that. To see the Odyssey, to see what he achieved with that, and to see an entire 3-hour movie in IMAX without the switching of aspect ratios and everything, it was mind-blowing. It was honestly mind-blowing. And just such a testament. And I apologize profusely for not having the name right in front of me, but the camera, camera style that was utilized, like I think they had to invent certain things in order to achieve like filming this movie. David Keeley, he was the IMAX chief quality officer. He worked closely with Nolan for this and passed away while this movie was in production. And so the movie's dedicated to David Keeley. Not only that, but the camera that was like designed, like the IMAX, like the version of the IMAX camera that was used for this, is now named after David Keeley. It's called like the Keeley camera or something like that, which is really cool. Really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was reading about it. It's like they put it in something they called it the blimp. It like dampens the sound and stuff like that, and it weighs 300 pounds. And on this movie, there was a team of 6 people who that's all they did is move the camera. They're not even like the cameramen. They just moved it. That's all they did. They stood around, and when he moved, they picked it up and moved it. Like, that's insane to think about. So
it absolutely is. And it's interesting because like a year and a half ago, like 28 years later came out, and that movie was filmed on iPhones.
Right.
It's so interesting to see the versatility in so many different facets of filmmaking and like big filmmaking, like wide release and everything. So that I thought was interesting.
For sure.
But yeah, for me, like my thoughts on like Oppenheimer, I've seen it a few times since seeing it in the theater back in 2023, and it like as well, I agree, it holds up very well. What's interesting to me about Nolan, and this will bring us into our Odyssey review, what is interesting to me about him is that it seems like the trajectory of his career, it's so interesting to see at a macro level, because we've got and this is fresh in my mind because I did a guest spot on Odd Trilogies talking about the rise of Nolan. We reviewed Following, Memento, and Insomnia, his first 3 movies. And like going back and revisiting those movies, it's amazing to me just how like it reminded me of my just adoration for like Memento. That movie is a masterpiece. It is incredible and holds up incredibly well. And I don't remember if I said this on Trilogies or not, but I kept thinking that, with Nolan now, as he is now, like he's doing these massive movies, like he could, based on his name alone, I don't know what the long-term effect of this would be, but like he could go back and make like a low budget Memento style movie, and like that, like he could, if there is a studio that is like suffering, like he could go do that, and it would open to massive profits on his name alone. And he would make it good. But anyway, that was a slight tangent, but it's so interesting to see the trajectory of his career, because you've got those like early noir movies, and then you've got Insomnia, which is kind of like it kind of felt like a studio assignment movie kind of thing. And then of course you've got the Dark Knight trilogy, and then like the interspersed with that, you have The Prestige and Inception, like these high concept, interesting, intricately woven plot lines in movies. And I feel like there was a point, and I don't want to say it was Tenet, but I want to say it was Tenet, but I feel like there's such an interesting shift in his movies from, like he did Interstellar and Tenet, and then after that, he did Oppenheimer, and now the Odyssey, and this is leading into the Odyssey, I promise. That feels like such a significant shift, because like he won Oscars for Oppenheimer, and rightfully so, because that is this really wonderful and unique take on biopic and on like the characterization of the subject of the movie. And now you've got the Odyssey, which is this massive epic. And it feels like it is very much in league with Oppenheimer. And I feel like we're in this new era of his career where he's doing these big, I would almost like, they're dad movies essentially. Like they are like Oppenheimer. Oh yeah, the guy who created the A-bomb. Like, oh yeah, this is a dad movie by Christopher Nolan. And then now we have the Odyssey. This is his Lawrence of Arabia. It's a dad movie.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to see. I don't want to say that he's matured as a filmmaker by any stretch, because I feel like that's a little reductive, but I just really like this new era for Nolan where he's doing what he wants, as he can do because he's Christopher Nolan, but what he's doing, what he's wanting to do and what he's accomplishing is so interesting as a deviation from what's come before in his career. So props to Sea-Dog, to Chris Nolan. Yeah, so let's talk about the Odyssey. Any thoughts on that, Tiny?
No, I agree with what you said. Yeah, I think it is reductive to say he's matured, because I don't think that's I don't think that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah, and I had said to you that, and I never made this joke online or anything, but my joke coming out of the movie, one of my many jokes coming out of the movie, was like if I could have like a log line, like a blurb, like a review blurb on the poster, it'd be, after years and years of Christopher Nolan making dead wife movies and killing the love interests, he finally makes a, if he wanted to, he would movie with the Odyssey, as we see Odysseus go through hell to get back home to Penelope. So growth as a director for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk the Odyssey. What overall thoughts, non-spoilers? How do you feel about the Odyssey?
I truly liked it. It will be a top 10 for this year without question. Currently number 1. But that's partly a lack of not seeing much this year. But yeah, I mean, he totally nailed it. You know, I think it's so simple to just say, oh, it's epic, because it is. And it's kind of the original epic story of the human race, right? So that's the easy thing to kind of say, but you know, you can attempt to make an epic and screw it up. And thankfully he didn't screw it up. But I think what I appreciated about the movie is the fact that he didn't try to overdo it, I guess is the way I want to put it. He let the landscapes, he let the Mediterranean guide the story and really be the star of the show. He didn't try to make these crazy CGI visuals, right? That are outlandish or fantastical. Like, you know, like an obvious comparison is the movie Troy, which is a decent movie. But that's that grand movie. It's not an epic movie. That movie's grand. Like, it's got a lot of CGI and big sets and super hot people, and they make these ridiculous statements and stuff like that, and over the top Brian Cox and and over the top Brad Pitt a little bit. But this wasn't that. This was so grounded. It felt like, because there's so much myth and there's so much fantasy to this story, but it feels super real. It feels grounded and real, and I think that's it's the men reacting to these witches and cyclopses and stuff like that. It's so organic, because they're like, oh man, we got to fight a freaking cyclops, let's go. Like, they're not like, oh my god, and totally blown away, because it's part of their world, and it felt organic, and that was the most surprising part to me. Nice. You know, and he totally nailed it. And you know, he just the way he can weave a story together and find these themes and kind of tap on them a little bit, and then he starts to grab onto them, and then he just grabs the audience. It's like, this is what I'm trying to show you, and it just hits you in the face. He does that so freaking well, and I'm glad that he did that in this movie without making this version of the Odyssey feel like, oh, this is a modern retelling, or this is my modern take on the Odyssey.
Right.
It didn't feel like that at all, even though it's tackling very modern themes. Mm-hmm. So, I was very impressed. I didn't know what to expect going into this. There was a lot of goofy chatter going into it. Like, people were like, oh, the costumes look stupid. It looks whatever. And it's like, you should never pay attention to those people anyways. But, I was like, maybe they're right. Maybe it's going to look stupid. Maybe it's not going to come across well because this is inaccurate and too polished or whatever. But it did not have that effect at all. It felt very genuine and grounded.
Nice. I agree. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about the internet chatter or anything, but there was a lot of just dumb racism and transphobic people, like just dumb stuff that doesn't need to be called attention to. But to your point about it being very grounded, despite being very big and epic and fantastical, that is something I find so compelling about Christopher Nolan as a storyteller, because like it is intricately plotted. And something that I thought about, and this I don't mean for this to be a tangent, but shout out to Tower Junkies. Something that I thought about today was the way that the story unfolds in this movie is it is vintage Nolan. Like one of the things I was getting at with like, his previous era, if you will, with like Tenet and Interstellar and Inception and even Dunkirk, like he does these things. Like he's so interested in playing with time and playing with audience perceptions and in like trying to pull the rug out from under the audience in a way. Not to the extent of like a Shyamalan movie, but he like with Inception, I guess Inception, but mostly with like Tenet and Interstellar and some other movies, it seems like at the most almost negative of that is that he seemed intent on outwitting the audience or trying to like purposely confuse the audience. Like he's like he was wanting to get one over on the audience and like out clever the audience watching the movie, which is not like that's a good storytelling tactic. That's not inherently bad, but I feel like now with Oppenheimer and the Odyssey, it's like he's past that. He's past that phase of his career. Now he is telling the stories that he wants to tell in ways that he wants to tell. He's focusing on the character drama of these characters. So like with J. Robert Oppenheimer, there's this full breadth of stuff that he is going through, and it's also told in this weird out of sequence way, but you get the embodiment of that character, which is such a great, like, turning the biopic formula on its ear in a way. And that's why I love that movie. But with the Odyssey, and this is where I'm going to tie it to Tower Junkies a little bit, something that I hit on today was that it's so interesting to see it as this, as the way that he's like telling the story, like as a storyteller. He is using like the Trojan horse story as this story that's passed down to people and it is told to people. Like it opens with the beginning of retelling the story of the Trojan horse, and then later we see a flashback to what happened and how the fall of Troy happened and everything. And what is interesting is that this movie does some really interesting things with storytelling and mythology and legacy, or not legacy, but legend. And most notably, there's like moments in this movie where we're getting a flashback of someone telling a story about Odysseus doing this, and then he is then like we see him in a moment, and then he's talking to like Calypso, and then that goes into another flashback into like what he went through to get to that point. And it's like this Russian nesting doll that it reminded me of the way that Stephen King tells the story in The Gunslinger, the first book of the Dark Tower series, where like, you know, Roland is at the camp with Brown, and then or he's telling the story of him. He's telling the story to Brown of Toll, but while he's telling the story of Toll, he tells a story within that story of him going this of the Man in Black coming to Toll. So like it's just this like intricate thing, and this is a kind of method that the Odyssey kind of employs throughout it in order to tell its story and tell this all-encompassing kind of story of Odysseus and what he's going through as he's not necessarily, I mean, he is defying the gods, but he's like in battle with the gods throughout the movie. And it's so interesting to see it just kind of all come to this finale that is all about, you know, what Odysseus is, like who he is, and the versus myth and reality. It's really interesting. I loved it.
Wow. Yeah. Good analysis. Yeah, he really matures as a military leader. Callback. But no, that's good analysis. I don't really have it. No notes.
Nice. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really good storytelling. I'm loving this storytelling, like evolution for Nolan, where he is focusing on, I mean, obviously he's focusing on like multiple characters and multiple storylines and everything, but just the all-encompassing story of like Odysseus in this was something that just really stood out to me and reminded me of, you know, what he did with J. Robert Oppenheimer. In Oppenheimer. So let's talk about the scale of this freaking thing. Like it really is. Like I came out of this movie with the most just cliched freaking like one, like 2-word or like 1 sentence reaction to it. And like when we go to these press screenings and stuff, the reps from the studio ask for our reactions to it and everything, and then we give them to them. And like I felt like such an idiot because the only thing I could say, and again, this is such a cliched thing, but it's so well suited to this movie. My reaction was like, this is a masterpiece of epic filmmaking. Like, it is jaw-dropping how massive in scale this is, and just how in-depth it is in terms of being an epic. And one of the reasons why I'm putting my Lawrence of Arabia review at the end of this episode is because with that movie so fresh in my mind, like this movie just feels like it harkens back to those big epics, like Lawrence of Arabia or Ben-Hur, these massive scale movies. And it, at times in this movie, while we were watching it, I was just thinking that, my God, this is a movie that is maybe not going to define Nolan's career in the future, but it's going to be a movie that people are going to be talking about for generations, and not in the way that's like film bros saying like, oh, Interstellar is the best movie ever, which, you know, fine. I'm not dogging on that, but like the way that when we were teenagers, I feel like Memento became this litmus test for if you were a movie snob, like, oh, I love Memento. Oh God, you know, and kind of the same now, like, you know, Interstellar is like, oh, okay, you know, film bros are going to be like, oh, I love Interstellar, and like, that's their prerogative and everything. But this feels different because this is like such a feat that it really does feel like this is the type of movie that's going to be studied. It's going to be analyzed. It's going to be something that people say in the same breath as Lawrence of Arabia or Ben-Hur. It's going to be something that people study for years, and it's going to influence people. It's a monumental achievement. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a tent pole of the epic subgenre, right? Like you said, in the same breath as Lawrence of Arabia and Ben-Hur. It is. It's gonna be one of those. They actually went to real Greek Mediterranean islands, and they went to the cave where they did the Cyclops thing was like a real, like, historical cave where human beings have been using for thousands of years. Like, that's cool. That's just cool details, and it doesn't necessarily, like, they could have built a set. They could have gone to any cave anywhere. And it probably would have been just as effective, but it's like that attention to detail. I think that immerses everyone. It immerses the audience, the crew, the actors, everyone. It's a technique that amplifies how important the movie is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just one example.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's something that, it's mind blowing. I forgot what I was going to say. The Cyclops scene. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I'm so sorry. This is so dumb. But one of my other jokes that I had afterwards was, I thought, I thought when the Cyclops scene happens, like, that's one of the first, like, big set pieces really in the movie in terms of being this like fantastical aspect of the movie. When that happened, my jaw dropped. Like, it looked incredible, terrifying, crazy. And my joke coming out of the theater was that Cyclops sequence was something else. And then your move, Avengers Doomsday. So we'll see what they do with Cyclops in that movie. But yeah, it like the set pieces. It is surprising to me how this movie is just shy of 3 hours. Apparently, from what I saw online, I don't know how accurate this is, but apparently, like, that's kind of the limit to what you can shoot in this IMAX, or like show in, like, projectors in IMAX and 70 millimeter cannot show something that's longer than 3 hours. There was this TikTok that was, I think a Cinemark theater or some kind of theater that was just showing them getting the film set for 70 millimeter on the projection in the projection booth, and like, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like thousands of like, or like hundreds of miles of film, and like they just, it is insanity how vast this movie is. Yeah. And it would have been so funny if he just like, instead, like, if he does do his next movie like a smaller thing, what he's just like, I'm gonna do my next one I'm only gonna shoot in 70 millimeter IMAX from now on, and my next movie is gonna be a remake of My Dinner with Andre or something.
Or it'd be funny if he just went like full Soderbergh and filmed something on an iPhone. Like, yes, that'd be funny. Like, I mean,
oh, absolutely.
He could pull it off. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what did you think of the set pieces, the different creature effects, the different entities that are encountered on Odysseus's journey home?
Yeah, it all, like I said, to kind of recycle my point, it all felt organic, and it didn't feel like fantasy, right? It felt like something that actually happened 3,000 years ago or whatever, or 4,000 years ago. It just felt grounded, and I think, a big part of that was the practicality of the effects, but also I think the way that they had the actors react to these situations really, really drove it home. Like, again, like, it wasn't something like they see this giant Cyclops and they're like wide-eyed and like, oh, it's crazy, and the music gets real loud and it turns into this big old action thing. It was like real military guys coming up on a a huge obstacle and being like, okay, how are we going to handle this? And like they sit there and like, okay, how are we going to game this out? And like the Cyclops is picking guys up and biting their heads off, and and there's not like a bunch of men like screaming their heads off, panicking, running around. It's like that's a really cool choice. Like it feels. It felt like, okay, yeah, we ran into a Cyclops. Let's deal with the Cyclops here, you know?
Right.
It's crazy how that happened. And, you know, I think the journey of the Odyssey gets away from all that fantasy, and it starts to be about, you know, it's, again, a kind of a cliche statement, and it kind of gets to be about a personal journey for Odysseus and how he changes and how he accepts what he's been through and how he's going to use it to get home and all that stuff. And I'm glad that they could weave that development into the epic story where they're fighting a Cyclops or they're, you know, navigating the ship around a whirlpool or any of the other crazy crap they get into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we haven't even talked about Ithaca and the suitors and Penelope and Tom Holland, who I'm going to butcher that character's name because I never read the poem, but Telemachus. But yeah, that whole plot line, I was so impressed with so much of it. Like it's incredible. Like in particular, Robert Pattinson playing Antinous. Oh my God. Like I knew from the trailers, like, okay, he's playing this like sniveling weasel guy. And like his performance in this movie is so swarmy and just incredidible. And I love the payoff of it, which we'll talk about in the spoilers, which we should probably get to soon enough. But like that character, right, Robert Pattinson's character, like it made me want to go back and watch Tenet again because I haven't seen it since I saw it when I had COVID in 2020. But it made me want to go back and see that again because like Robert Pattinson is an incredible actor. Like earlier this year, he was in the drama with Zendaya, and I love that movie. And he's incredible here. So yeah. Anyway, thoughts on performances in that part?
I'm so glad that R Pats has blown up, as I call him, R Pats. He's I remember back in the day when he got famous from Twilight. I was like, you know, I was like, yeah, these movies are crazy. They're silly and dumb and all that shit. I was like, but that Robert Pattinson guy's good. I'm telling you, he's going to be good. And like, I'm kind of tooting my own horn here, but some people were like, what are you talking about? Like, what? No, he's an idiot. And I was like, I don't know. I think he's pretty good. And here we are years later. He's fantastic. I'm excited to see him in things.
Me too.
So yeah, that whole subplot was so fascinating. Again, just the kind of the very, kind of a quick character study on human nature within that subplot of the suitors at the castle and all that was really fascinating, and again just kind of poignant to modern times. I don't think that was a goal of the movie, but it felt poignant, and it was fascinating to watch, juxtaposed with Odysseus's journey, right? Because you know it's kind of, again, there's a lot of cliches because it's basically the oldest story that we know of, just about, you know, but it's a bit cliche for, you know, the wife to be at home waiting on the husband to return, and he gets back and he wants her to be so excited to see him, but she's like, I was suffering too, you know, the whole time you were gone. It wasn't just a party here at home. I was dealing with all this crap, and she really was. And it's fascinating to see, and the way they treat John Leguizamo's character and the way they're so antagonistic towards Telemachus, you know, it was well done.
Yeah, the like just blanket disrespect, the complete like self-elevating thing, like they're suitors vying for not only for her in marriage, but like they're vying for the throne. They're wanting to take over Ithaca. And it's just so interesting to see how it's painted out as them just have like them being of that just heightened class of people in quotes, like the royalty in the sense of import that they have on themselves and everything. It's really fun to see, or it's really great to see that kind of juxtaposed with what Tom Holland is going through and what Anne Hathaway is going through, trying to basically buy time because he's not able to take the throne at this point. And I don't know, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John Leguizamo, freaking love that guy, man.
He's great.
He was great. Yeah. Fantastic performance. All the performances are great. Really good stuff. Do you want to go into spoilers for the Odyssey, Tiny?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Let's go.
All right. We're going to go ahead and go into spoilers. Before we do that, Tiny, what did you rate this on Letterboxd?
4.5 stars.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gave it 5 stars.
Nice.
Yeah, it is the first 5-star movie of 2026 releases that I've seen this year. So kudos to Nolan. But we're going to go ahead and go into spoilers for the Odyssey. If you want to skip around that, check the show notes for timestamps. I'm going to play a bumper here to bring us into spoilers. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling the Odyssey. Let's play this one.
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
So Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah, well, history is going to change.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
What are you asking? That we weigh the life of one against the future of mankind?
Didn't see it coming, did you?
All right, so spoilers on for the Odyssey. Tiny, let's talk about the different set pieces. In particular, I wanted to talk about Cersei and the pig scene, the transformation, the animal transformation scenes. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And when Oppenheimer came out, I had said that the auditorium scene where he's hearing like basically the ghosts of like he's hearing cheering for him, and that is juxtaposed with like just like this haunting beating of their feet on the bleachers, and it's terrifying. It is a horror movie scene in Oppenheimer, and I remember saying when that came out, like, oh my god, this movie, like, this makes me want Christopher Nolan to make a straight up horror movie. I think that would be incredible. And there's sequences in this movie that really pay off that thought in a good way. The body transformation, the body horror of it is disturbing and disgusting. And it is something that, like, I don't want to say it pushes the PG-13 rating or anything, but it is, especially with it being, not looking like CGI or anything, it's terrifying. Like, my God, what an amazing sequence.
Yeah, the body horror was on point. And to drive the point home even further, it was practical, right? It felt like Samantha Morton was actually like molding clay and turning them into sound. Ooh, the sound.
Yes.
So piercing. Yeah, I agree. That was one of the best parts of the movie. Totally. Yeah, and horror. It was horrific. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like, that's just one scene. Like, this movie is regimented into like different sequences, like the giant things that they fight when they're escaping the island, and obviously the Cyclops scene, the whirlpool thing, and the thing that is, capturing them from above that looks like it's out of like the mist. Those, like, also the sirens, like that. We should have said up top, I think I said this before, but I never read the Odyssey. Did you ever read the Odyssey?
I think I read the Iliad, but not the Odyssey.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Christopher Nolan, like, why make a sequel to a movie that he hasn't made the first one of? Like, that's lame. Like,
Totally.
Yeah, I'm bringing it down to 2 stars now. But anyway, so yeah, having not read it, I don't know like what goes into like their run-in with the sirens or anything, but I just love the way that is done with him tying himself to the ship, and we're in Hamish Patel's perspective with the wax in the ear, so we don't hear the siren song, but we see Matt Damon's reaction to it, and the one guy jumps off and swims toward it. Like, just the effectiveness and the sound design of that was so cool, so amazing. And my dumb ass was like, oh, they technically have earpods now, or earbuds and back then. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought the siren sequence would be a little more in depth. Not that I disliked it, because it's such a famous part of the poem, you know, the original poem, that I'm kind of glad he didn't, you know, it's just been done.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I liked it.
Same. Yeah. And so we're jumping around a bit and everything, but I want to make sure we talk about certain things. But one of the criticisms or one of the concerns going into it was the modern language and modern accents and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's funny because like everyone in this movie sounds like themselves. Like it is like there's no hiding it. Like John Bernthal comes in and he's John Bernthal, and like I was waiting for him to say like, let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. But like but the movie is so immersive and so just well done on every facet that like there was not one point in the movie where I felt like I was like that the accents or anything broke any kind of immersion. Like it doesn't matter that Anne Hathaway sounds like Anne Hathaway. It doesn't matter that Tom Holland, like I'm hearing Spider-Man talk about his dad. It's like it was so immersive. Like that did not cross my mind. However, there was one stupid reaction I had when Zendaya is on screen at one point. I think it's after they escape, after like most of the landing party is like killed. But it's when Odysseus is on the ship and the remaining soldiers are on the ship, and they're rowing and trying to get away. And Odysseus looks over and sees Zendaya, the vision of Zendaya, and she's just like glaring at him. And my idiot brain, like all I heard was her line in Spider-Man Homecoming where like Ned and Peter are talking about Liz's like top, and they look over to Zendaya, and Zendaya's just like, you guys are losers. And I just imagined her saying that in that moment to Matt Damon. But everything else, I was so immersed in it. It was incredible.
I agree. Giving everybody the kind of generic pseudo British accent thing is not. It doesn't bother me necessarily when they do that in movies, but it just doesn't need to. It doesn't need to happen.
I agree. Yep. Yeah. We don't need it.
Especially with a cast like this. This cast was bananas. It's insane. We haven't touched on it much, but like I remember when the movie let out, like I had running through all these thoughts, but I was like, they had multiple Oscar winners in this movie who had like less than 20 lines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What kind of asshole does that, right? Like I was like, but it didn't bother me. I mean, though particularly Lupita Nyong'o and Charlize Theron, they were great. Like they didn't need 150 lines. They were sort of sounding boards for other things, right? And they show up and they say what they need to say, and it takes care of it. And not that it's like a succinct, abrupt performance from either of them, but it's just the audacity of it is hilarious.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I just think like, oh yeah, Chris Nolan was calling in quite a few favors in this movie. But not really, because he's fucking Chris Nolan. But anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think to kind of button up the whole set piece thing and then kind of talk about my favorite, like maybe a line of the movie or moment of the movie, was Elliot Page. We talked about it briefly after the movie when we were kind of standing around talking to everybody. I don't think I've seen Elliot Page in anything since I don't even know. I can't remember the last thing I saw them in. I don't know. This is for sure the first performance I've seen from them since they transitioned. And
Same.
And of course there was. I hate talking about it. There was a controversy like, oh, Elliot Page is playing Achilles, one of the most famous warriors of all time. This is bullshit. It's a trans person and it's woke. And I'm like, I didn't even pay attention to it because I was like, I don't care.
Right. Same.
Yeah,
Same.
I don't care. I mean, we'll see what the movie wait to see what the fucking movie looks like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But they don't want to wait because they just want to be pissed off.
They want to be pissed off.
Losers. Yeah.
They want to be pissed off.
As Zendaya is famous for saying, "You guys are losers."
Nice. Nice. But I'm that part of me is happy that I don't know that everyone else is going to have the same reaction, but like my favorite scene is Elliot Page is the crux of the whole thing.
Yes.
That set piece where they go to Hades and they essentially withdraw, the souls, I guess, of their fallen brethren, was incredibly powerful. And it, from a structure point of the story and the character development of Odysseus, I was blown away because it tapped into this idea of, they've been playing with this mystery of he's sort of traveling home, but he's sort of going on a journey intentionally and like trying all these things and being explorative, and it's like he's trying to avoid something, and that scene just throws it in your face that he's ashamed. He's ashamed of. He's not honoring his men. He's ashamed of what they did in the Battle of Troy and all that stuff, and the way that Elliot Page's character, the Sinon character, just unblinkingly looking at Matt Damon, Odysseus, and like throwing it in his face, and just hitting him with that shame. I was like, holy shit, this is so good. This is so fucking good. And I just the social justice of me is like, I'm so glad it was Elliot Page that did that. And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love absolutely. That was just so fucking powerful. And
totally.
And it's a pretty simple scene. Like it's not I was reading about it. They filmed that in Iceland and it was like raining and crazy and all that stuff, but it wasn't some wild set with all kinds of crap going on, and just, it was simple, it was straightforward, and that's what made it awesome.
That's absolutely. And having the Sinon character be that sounding board of honor and being someone who is like throwing it in Odysseus's face, like you said, like the whole fact that like, you didn't tell me about the horse, you didn't tell me about any of this, I died because you didn't clue me into any of this. So you're kind of a shit leader. And the way that scene is so pivotal to multiple parts at the end of the movie where Odysseus is talking to Penelope as the beggar, and which, by the way, my God, that whole end sequence when he is like in disguise, like just having that like the hooded figure that you can't see it, like it looked so fucking cool. I don't have anything intellectual to talk about it in terms of like any kind of depth. It just looked so cool. Like it looked awesome.
Totally did. Yeah. I loved it as well. And I think, again, we were talking about it after the movie. I'm glad that it wasn't some like super polished John Wick choreographed fight scene. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that because I love John Wick. Right. But
me too.
It wouldn't have felt right necessarily in this.
Yeah.
Like, again, the movie Troy, decent movie, but like the fight scenes are pretty cool. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I like them. Some people may not, but I think they're fun to watch. They're entertaining as hell, and they're highly choreographed. But it's probably not realistic. Not that realism is everything, but this just, again, I keep going back to the word organic. It felt real. It felt like something that could actually happen. You know, and it just, the way they did, I wouldn't, again, no notes. It was great.
It's funny because there's a unique kineticism to the choreography in this. And I don't know the technical aspects of it. I don't know how, I don't know. I don't have the knowledge base for the technology to make this assertion, but my thought is like the reason why it's not John Wicky, the reason why it is kind of jarring to an extent in the edit is because I would assume they have like a couple of minutes to shoot for each setup because of just the monstrosity of the IMAX camera and the film stock and everything. So I think that I have a feeling that plays into it, but it gives a very interesting flourish to it for sure.
Absolutely.
But to go back to the scene with him and Penelope when he's talking, like that full circle moment where he's like admitting to her and admitting to himself that like, oh, what if Odysseus isn't like this great leader? What if he didn't honor his fallen? What if the gods are right to be as pissed off at him as they are? And all of that coming to the point where he sees Zendaya, and the reveal that Zendaya isn't like she is like embodying the god Athena, but when we see the Troy scene and we see that she's just a girl in Troy who got beheaded as they were sacking it, like that just clicked together so beautifully, and like having that be this symbol of his regret and his shame, and us not knowing that until late in the movie is really, really powerful. And like, I feel like old school Nolan would have really made a meal of that and made that a big thing, because he would be trying to outsmart the audience or outwit us. But instead, this is him in a more controlled story showing us like what he is intending to tell with this story, rather than showing us something we don't expect. Like that's not his most his biggest priority in that moment. It's to service the story, and not a slight to his past writing, but I really feel like this and Oppenheimer is such an evolution for him that I'm so excited for him now. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I loved that scene. Just it's not an aspect I've thought of with the Odyssey before. The shame of it, and you know, that's again sort of poignant for our generation. All the war that we didn't experience it, but you know what I mean. It was part of our national conscience throughout our formative years, into our adult years, and the results of warfare and how it affects people is ever present, essentially, in our culture anymore because of those wars. And this was an interesting take on that. I think the shame aspect was and regret for what they did. We've sort of gotten away from that. I'm sure there's some of that, right? And I know there's some of that with you know, Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff like that. I know that exists, but it was interesting to see the trauma from that perspective featured so prominently.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's a lot of that going on, like now, even with like Israel and Palestine, all of that stuff going on.
Yeah.
So it is, like you said, it has been ever present since we were like a constant thing in our world for way too long. Yeah. There was something else I was going to say about the movie, but let's talk about Troy. Let's talk about the Trojan horse. Like the scale of it, amazing. Like going through, that was one of the moments where it reminded me of like old epic movies, like when I could be getting this wrong. No, I don't think I'm getting this wrong. But like when they're pulling the wooden horse into Troy, like just the scale of it, the look of it, it reminded me of like those big, huge like Coliseum shots in Ben-Hur, and it felt like such a massive thing, and I thought it was amazing. And the actual sacking of Troy, like all of that, that was brutal. It was horrifying, and it was perfect. No notes. Like you said, no notes. Yeah.
I agree. One thing I liked about that scene where they're dragging the horse into the city. Usually, when I've seen that in movies, it's kind of a polished thing, right? They're rolling it on logs, and it's this cool thing. But this just felt super gritty. They're like literally dragging it on its side through the sand.
Yes,
and it's not important, really. Like that's not like an important part of the movie, but it just felt. Again, it felt practical. I feel like they built that horse, and they hired a bunch of extras to pull it with ropes. Like it,
yeah.
it felt gritty. Like there's a lot of debate about whether or not the Battle of Troy actually happened in the real world, and so but if it did, and there was a Trojan horse, I imagine they probably just threw some ropes on it and drug it through the sand like that.
Oh yeah, and the shots inside the horse of the men, like in there was like it's so interesting to see this kind of grounded, in quotes, like look at this story, like having it be this cramped space where people are dying in the horse, like they're drowning and they can't make noise and they're getting stabbed as the Trojans are sticking their swords through it and stuff. And it's like just the style of it, the realism of it in this big fantastical story is like jaw-dropping, absolutely jaw-dropping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the different perspectives were great. Yeah.
I know that this is a 3-hour movie. We can't talk about everything because we don't have an infinite amount of time. Is there anything that we haven't really touched on that you would like to talk about? The reunion of Odysseus and Telemachus.
Yeah. Just that whole part was incredible. Just because it's touched on earlier in the movie when Odysseus is talking to Agamemnon's ghost. And it's a cautionary tale. You can't. Don't just walk in. Don't just Don't just show up, and because you don't know what's been going on. And he didn't just show up. I like how you can't just do that. It's 20 years, and you're part of the most famous story in the world. Like you can't just show up and just like, hey, I'm back. And the way it played out, and it was a very slow play, and took his time and just really did it the right way. And I was like, man, that's just beautiful storytelling.
Yeah. This is so dumb, but I just imagined like, what if he just walked in and like the room of suitors are there and he's like, hey guys, sorry I'm late. I had to go see a guy about a horse. So dumb.
My God.
But the through line of his return and his son not knowing him, and like him talking about how like, oh yeah, Odysseus is offshore. He's going to be, I'm been shown ahead. And like when they're about to go into Ithaca, and the way that it's communicated to Tom Holland that it is Odysseus is the dog. The dog has been staying alive, waiting for Odysseus's return. He pets him and the dog dies. And I just love that interaction between Matt Damon and Tom Holland in that moment where Tom Holland's just like he's like realizing, and they're having that conversation where they're both like, they're talking, like they're saying without saying like they're saying what they're feeling without saying what they're feeling. They're just like, there's that look that's shared between them. And I love the simpleness of the line where Tom Holland's just like, welcome home, stranger. And it's just like, God damn, this movie's fucking brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Yep. And then finally, one of the other things I wanted to talk about really quick was the comeuppance of Robert Pattinson's character and the way that just I fucking loved when Odysseus is like, when you go to Hades, tell Sinan that I gave you back your shame, and just like, oh my God, that is just such a great freaking line. Like, I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I loved it.
Yep. Okay. Anything else we can talk about with the Odyssey, or should we let you go to bed, Tiny?
Yeah, I'm very tired. Inside baseball, I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so I'm tired. But
yes,
no,
it is almost 11 p.m.
I'm glad we got to talk about it though, because I've been thinking about it. You know, the past couple days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm obviously grateful that you were able to get me into the screening to see it. And
of course,
just how the last thing I'll talk about is the fact that we are so damn lucky that we have that movie theater in Indianapolis.
Oh my God, yes.
There's like, I want to say the number of those that exist in the world, there's like 15 of them or something.
It's something ridiculous like that. Like for Oppenheimer, there were people, and I'm sure for the Odyssey as well, there were people like coming in from like Chicago
and Nashville.
Yeah, in Nashville. Like, and it's so great. They just recently, within the last year, they upgraded their seats. And there is a seat. I don't remember what number it is, but there is a seat there that if you go to the State Museum and you get it, the plaque in the back is engraved with the Indiana Film Journalists Association.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because they had a whole promotion where you could adopt a seat, and you have your name on the plaque and everything on the back of it. So there is an IFJA one. But yeah, it is amazing. And I know that within the last 10 years or so, maybe a little bit longer, they like upgraded the screen. Like they actually like they got a new screen, and it's, I mean, again, the scale of this, the massive nature of it, like the fact that this is the first movie to be shot entirely in IMAX, like it is jaw dropping, and we got to see it that way in 70 millimeter. Just like, it is amazing, and I love that theater, and I love that I can say that I have seen. Well, we saw The Dark Knight Rises there, but. I think you were there for Interstellar, but I have seen Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and the Odyssey there, and just there's no better place to see a Nolan movie. For sure, I agree. Yeah. And also on Letterboxd, they have a thing where when you log it, there is a little, like when you go to the Odyssey page for the movie on Letterboxd, they have like a little banner that says, "An Odyssey of formats. Trek every way you've seen the Odyssey. Start now." And you hit it, and it brings you to like a screen that has like all the different formats, and you just tap one. So like I tapped IMAX 70 millimeter, and it has like a little film strip on it, and there's like IMAX, Dolby Vision, 70 millimeter, 35 millimeter, large format screen. So like you can do that and see it as many times in as many formats as you can. But which is funny because I almost did that today, because we were supposed to record last night, and my plan was I was gonna go see it tonight at like 8 o'clock. I was gonna, like, because I was just so anxious to see it again. And then when we decided to record tonight, I was like, okay, we're recording at 8:30. There's a screening at 4. I get off work at 3:30. I could do this. Man, I miss those. I miss those days. Spontaneously going to a movie. Oh, it's the best. It's the best, especially with A-List. It's just, it is the best. But unfortunately, I forgot that I had a grocery order to pick up that I had scheduled. So I was like, responsibility gets in the way. I guess. So anyway, so any final thoughts on the Odyssey? And once again, what did you rate it, and where can people find you on Letterboxd and the internet?
It's great. I'm glad it's so great too. You know, I don't know where it's going to fall in my personal ranking of Nolan movies. Towards the top for sure. But that's just such a storied list for me personally.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and I think it'll speak to not just Americans, but like the entire a worldwide audience. I hope it's super successful and people go see it across the world. I really hope so. I gave it 4.5 stars. And you can find any of my musings about movies on Letterboxd at Obsessive Tiny.
Nice. And yeah, the other thing I was going to say, so dumb, the Hades scene. The joke that I wanted to make was, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird for Agamemnon to just say randomly to Odysseus, like, oh, hey, by the way, one of the suitors, he's this young upstart senator from Massachusetts. His name's John F. Kennedy. Like, that was weird.
Oh, shit.
So dumb. But anyway, yeah, I rated it 5 stars. Just an incredible experience. Again, masterpiece. And I don't say that lightly. Like, it is a masterpiece. I feel like it is going to be a defining movie in Nolan's filmography in terms of like us studying movies in the future and epic storytelling. Yeah. So great stuff. And that'll do it for the feature review. I'm going to throw it to a Patreon review, but thank you so much, Tiny, for making the time to chat with me about the Odyssey.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And again, thanks for the movie ticket. Like I always appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for the Diet Coke you got me.
Yeah, of course.
That was much appreciated. All right. Well, we're going to bid adieu to Tiny, and yeah, stay tuned for a little spiel and my Patreon review that I'm unlocking from behind the paywall, reviewing Lawrence of Arabia. So stay tuned, and goodbye, Tiny.
They tell me I view obsessively.
All right. And of course, before we get to the secondary review, I'm going to take a quick moment to remind you guys that if you like the show, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. The movie review podcast space is extremely oversaturated. There are a ton of different shows that you can choose from to listen to. And first of all, very much appreciate that you are spending your time with Obsessive Viewer. But as such, if you want to support us, please leave us a review and rating and subscribe to the show so that you don't miss an episode. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I have video versions of the podcast and occasional live streams of episodes and short form content as well across YouTube and social media, TikTok and all of that nonsense. So, so we're going to go ahead and throw it to, instead of a secondary review, it's going to be my Patreon review of Lawrence of Arabia after seeing it in the movie theater at the Alamo Drafthouse a few weeks ago. This is from episode 2 of my Back Half Blind Spots review series that I'm doing on Patreon that I mentioned before. Once again, that's just me talking about movies that I haven't seen that were released at any point before my 40th birthday on June 26, 2026. So the idea is I have a master list of 3,000 movies that I have never seen or I have seen but never rated on Letterboxd, and basically haven't seen in a long time. So I'm going through that list. I don't plan on finishing that list or anything, but it's basically giving me a platform to be able to review movies and finally fill the blind spots that I've missed over the years. Movies that I've intended to see but just never got around to. So that is going strong over on Patreon. You're going to get a sample of that with this full review of Lawrence of Arabia coming up. But if you like that and you want to hear more exclusive content over on Patreon, go sign up over there, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Once again, we've got 3 different tiers, $5, $7, and $10. Pay what you think, we're worth, and pay what you can. You get access to everything. And it's a monthly subscription there, and I got a ton of content over there. So I think it's over 900, just individual episodes of things, running the gamut from movie reviews, TV reviews, book reviews, comic book reviews, Batman reviews, audio tests, and video reviews, Patreon potpourri reviews, just a ton of content. And the money that it comes from Patreon is extremely appreciated and helps keep the lights on and pay the bills at Obsessive Viewer Studios and keeps my cat Pizza fed. So once again, just another push. Go check out Patreon, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to my review of Lawrence of Arabia from my Back Half Blind Spots Patreon review series. So stay tuned.
They tell me I view obsessively.
Okay, so first up in this edition of Back Half Blind Spots, episode 2 of Back Half Blind Spots, presented by Obsessive Viewer, an Obsessive Viewer Patreon podcast, I guess. I don't know. Like I'm treating this like its own full-fledged podcast itself. I think that's apt. I don't know. But anyway, the first up is Lawrence of Arabia. So like I said, I got to see this at the Alamo Drafthouse, which, just a brief aside, I'm really, really loving that theater. It's a few years old here in Indy, or a couple of years old. I don't even remember, but I love the atmosphere, the style of it. Like, they've gotten into a good groove. Like, I know there's been, and I've talked about this before, but there's been a big pushback on the QR code thing. I got a drink and popcorn because I had a free popcorn. I think it was because of my birthday. No, it was the victory thing. Oh, I had a free dessert. Anyway, I had a free popcorn because of the victory points from buying tickets to see movies and stuff. Yeah, so I got a free popcorn. It's big. I didn't eat all of it, but it was delicious. Anyway, they've gotten into a rhythm where, like, it's not disruptive or anything. People aren't using their cell phones to order after the movie starts. It's a good system. So anyway, I also, just while I'm on the topic, going to Once Upon a Time in China, I actually got to see that for free because I used the free movie pass that I got in January when I was with Joe and his fiance at the movie trivia in January with Blue Harry, who are my friend and IFJ colleague. He hosts movie trivia at Alamo Drafthouse first and third Sunday of each month. Winner gets free passes to a movie. So I had that from January. So I cashed it in for Once Upon a Time in China. So anyway, let's talk about Lawrence of Arabia. The movie was released December 16th, 1962. The premise, according to IMDb, is the story of T.E. Lawrence, and the English officer who successfully united and led the diverse, often warring Arab tribes during World War I in order to fight the Turks. Director was David Lean, and writers were Robert Bolt and Michael Wilson, who was previously uncredited, but he had his credit restored in 1971. I think he wrote an early draft or two of the movie. The movie stars Peter O'Toole, Alec Guinness, Anthony Quinn, Jack Hawkins, Omar Sharif, Jose Ferrer, Anthony Quayle, and Claude Rains. And had I seen this before or not? That's the question on everyone's mind listening to this, I'm sure. Yes and no. I watched this movie when I was a teenager. Oh God. Jesus Christ, over 20 years ago at this point. I did not remember anything specific about it. It was one of those times, if I were to wager a guess, it was in high school. It was one of those times where I probably rented it from Blockbuster or got it from Netflix by mail. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, this is an important movie that I'm supposed to watch and supposed to love. And then I watched it and promptly forgot about it. That is my guess. I do have a memory that, interestingly enough, I have this memory of wanting to go to the State Museum IMAX to see a 70 millimeter screening of it. I think it was 70 millimeter at the time, but to see an actual screening of it in the theater. But I think that was probably before I had my license, and I just couldn't. I wasn't able to go. So. Like, it's funny because now I've seen it in the theater, and so I just thought that was mildly interesting. Also, a big regret is that I think they showed Sunshine there in 2007 when Sunshine came out, one of my all-time favorite movies. When it came out, I want to say it was showing at the State Museum for like a day or two, maybe not, but I don't know. I missed out on seeing that in the theater, and that's a big regret of mine. But anyway, Lawrence of Arabia. I'm kind of nervous about talking about this movie, to be honest, if you can tell, me stalling and everything, because it is an important piece of filmmaking. It's important to the history of film. It is like Steven Spielberg's all-time favorite movie. It is a movie that has stood the test of time. It is well regarded, and it is a massive achievement. It's epic in stature. It is incredibly hypnotic, the way that certain shots are filmed and certain things are done in the movie. But it's also 4 hours long with an intermission, which, by the way, Alamo Drafthouse, have to give them props. They gave us a 15-minute intermission, which I think Can does the same thing when there's an intermission in a movie, but there's like a timer on the screen that counts it down, so I was able to get up and stretch and everything, and had time to just like kind of get comfortable again. So anyway, I'm nervous about talking about this because it is such a significant movie in the annals of movie history, and I feel like there is a part of me that is ill-equipped to talk about it just because of that stature. That's a little bit of imposter syndrome on my part, I believe, but I'm going to try my best. The movie's great. The movie is fantastic. The acting is sublime. The visuals of it, that, like, this is an incredible movie to see on the big screen. It is. For as much as people dog on long run times and epic stuff like this is 4 hours, and the first 2 hours of it, 2.5 hours really, do not feel like it's the first part of a 4 hour movie. Like, it goes pretty quickly. It goes at a good pace. We get a lot of information, not even a lot of information. We get a lot of good character stuff for Lawrence. And that's where the movie kind of doesn't really work all that well for me. And that's what I'm going to wrestle with when talking about it, because the movie does a great job of introducing us to Lawrence, and not only introducing us to him, but making it seem very much apparent, like the type of person he is. He is someone who is kind of, I don't know if I would say brash, but he's funny. Like, he's jokey. He doesn't take things very seriously or anything. It's not anything that's like, he has this sense of humor, this demeanor about him when he's meeting with like the officials, or like the high command of the British Army that he's the lieutenant of. He has this, not even bravado, it's just like this genial sort of, is it genial the right word? A comedic kind of bend. Like, he doesn't take things too seriously, which I think is a good setup for the quest that he goes on, for the journey that he goes on throughout the movie, because really the very first scene of the movie is two things about it. One, it is interesting to see that like the beginning of the movie is like, let me do this old joke. This classic movie begins with the titular character dying and then people reacting to that death with this kind of overwhelming question of who was this person. But enough about Citizen Kane. Let's talk about Lawrence of Arabia, because it is very similar to the beginning of Citizen Kane with the snow globe and everything. It is very similar to that. What I find interesting is that this is kind of, and to bring in, Millennial Matt into the conversation, basically, it is kind of instead of being this like distillation of who the person was, or leaving us dangling with like, oh, who was this person? Let's find out. It's more, what was the public's reaction to this person? So the Millennial Matt of it all is that it reminds me of the poster work for The Social Network, like Rebel, whatever, blah blah blah, Genius, and then like you don't get a million friends without making a few enemies, that kind of thing. So the actual beginning of Lawrence of Arabia shows him dying on his motorcycle, and then it's this interesting juxtaposition with his memorial where we see like this bust of him, and we see people just like interacting and talking about him, and like a reporter is going around saying like, hey, can you tell us about Colonel Lawrence? And they're like, oh yeah, he was a brilliant soldier, he's an adventurer and everything. And then the person is just like, well, no, can you tell us about him? Like, did you know him? And he's like, oh God, no, I didn't know him. And like, there's this interesting like back and forth of like a character that is prominent in the movie later as a journalist. He tells the journalist at the memorial that Lawrence was an exceptional person or something like that, but also under his breath he says like he also had the most like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but like the most ridiculous sort of temperament or something like that, like something somewhat derogatory or I guess disrespectful to him, and someone behind him overhears him and says like, has this like really intense reaction that kind of, it isn't like this, but it reminded me of like old Westerns, like I challenge you to a duel, sir, like that kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I take offense to what you've said about our dear Lawrence. And then the guy is like, well, did you know him? And he's like, no, I never had the pleasure. And it's just interesting to set it up that way, to have this movie set us up with this just clear vision of what the popular opinion of Lawrence was, and giving us hints that, there's something deeper, like obviously there's something nuanced to him, but the kind of prevailing thing is that this is the person who he was to the public, and everyone, like no one really knows how he was or anything. Like his public image overshadows what his actual persona was and his actual life was. And that's as great a time as any to jump us into 4 hours of him living life in the desert with a bunch of people, and forming like an Arab nation with them. So, so I'm not going to go beat for beat or anything, but basically the visuals of this, like that is the main takeaway for this movie for me, is that while I don't think the actual characterization and the like scripting, the screenwriting, the actual like journey that we go on with Lawrence, I don't think that's as special or endearing as I would have liked it to be. It is very kind of flimsy in a sense. Like it's basically, he gets the orders to go into the desert and basically not even broker a truce, but like he's ordered to get inside the mind of Prince Faisal, played by Alec Guinness, and just figure out what he's going to do. And like Lawrence has this kind of romanticizing of like the Arabs and the culture in the desert. Forgive me, because this is not really, I don't think there's anything like this in it, but it reminded me of Dune, like Frank Herbert's Dune. And I wonder if Dune was influenced by this. When was Dune published? Dune publication, because it would be interesting. 1965. Well, that's what the AI overview says. Let's go to the much more dependable Wikipedia, 1965. So interesting. It is possible that Frank Herbert drew some inspiration from the story of T.E. Lawrence. Possible, not probable, I don't think, but it did remind me of that. Just this idea of this warrior going into a desert environment and learning the ways of this culture and utilizing that knowledge and utilizing their begrudging acceptance of him to help really prop up that group and help proffer a way for them to start like their own nation and everything. And that's the overview of it. That's basically the overview of the movie. And while I say it like that, it's interesting that it's not this white savior narrative. In the beginning of the movie, I was thinking like, oh, this is probably going to be some white savior movie. And like, it's 1962. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something that's like egregiously so and not, and isn't a, and doesn't paint it in like a bad light or anything like that. I was wondering if it was going to turn out to be like an Oscar bait sort of experience, but fortunately it's not that at all. Like, it's more about him learning and becoming a part of this like society, and then even bringing them to places and helping them become like a nation themselves. But it's also conflicted with what the British Army wants to do and how they want to basically colonize them or whatever, and have them be under like British control. And so there's conflict there. But then when you get deeper into it, the character of T.E. Lawrence himself, he is fascinating in and of himself because he has this, he has this kind of like, not gruffness to him, but this tragic history, I guess. It's interesting that I watched this after watching like Cool Hand Luke, because Cool Hand Luke and Lawrence of Arabia are somewhat similar, slightly similar, in the respect that it's about a person who is larger than life or becomes larger than life among a group of people. And the reality of it is that he's not really larger than life. He's just a guy. Like Luke in Cool Hand Luke was just a dude. He was just a guy who was bringing on a lot of, carrying a lot of the tension from the group on his shoulders so that they could be relieved. Lawrence is someone who isn't doing that, but he is kind of seeking a home. He's kind of seeking a place where he can belong. And I find that to be pretty interesting. That's the one part of the story of his journey that I really kind of latched onto, and it's what I've been thinking more about after I saw it yesterday. Because like he has the scene where he is talking to Ali, where he says that it's actually kind of funny. It's kind of a funny scene because Sharif Ali is saying, like, oh, so your father is Mr. Lawrence or something. And he says, no, my father is Sir or whatever. And then he's like, oh, so you're a prince or you're a lord, or once your father dies, you will be a lord. And then he's like, no, I won't. And then Ali's like, oh, you have an older brother. And like just the way that he says that line, like that brief pause, like it got a laugh out of me. It was pretty funny, honestly. I don't know if it was intentionally funny, but it humored me. But he goes on to talk about how basically what happened was his father never married his mother, so he doesn't have like a birthright or anything. He doesn't, like, the underlying thing is that, you know, he doesn't really have a family. He doesn't really have like a sense of belonging. And you can kind of extrapolate from that, you know, he doesn't have that with the military either, because even in the early scenes, he's joking around with people. He's not taking things seriously. He's basically drawing attention to himself, like, because of kind of a performance type of attitude, really. And it's kind of screams out as being a something of a not cry for help, but basically it kind of screams out as a call for attention, like because he doesn't have attention. He hasn't had attention before. And it's just he wants to be accepted. I think that deep down he just wants to be accepted, but he can't be. He's not. He kind of isn't. And then when he is in the desert and he is ingratiating himself with the group, he does like these kind of amazing feats with them. He brokers an agreement between them and Anthony Quinn's character to get, because he is beholden to the Turks. He is kind of working with the Turks or giving them safe passage, whatever. And so Lawrence is able to get Anthony Quinn on their side. And he's someone who's able to just lead people and have people follow him. And part of that, I think, is the charisma that he kind of imbues. But I also think that it's this reaction to him having this sense of insecurity that makes him want to be accepted. And that's ultimately what makes him not have a very fulfilled life, really, because he kind of buys into that kind of mythic ideal that the Arabs have given to him. They burn his clothes and give him robes, and he's celebrated for going back to get Gassel, I think, or Gassel, to saving that guy. He's given accolades, and it's to the point where he's kind of in his own head. He has a big head about himself that he thinks he can do anything. He goes and he has a big head. Oh, he's doing like after the intermission, he's doing like these kind of like surprise attacks. That's the word. Surprise attacks on like trains that are carrying people and horses and ammunition for the Turks. He's doing like this kind of guerrilla thing in the desert, which I thought was really cool. But even then, he has that reporter that's following him along, who point blank tells him like, "Hey, I'm looking." I don't think he tells him that. He tells someone else that. I don't know. He tells many people this, but he says like, "I'm looking for someone." I'm looking for a story that I can write that is going to prop someone up so that it can compel the Americans to join the fight and to join us. So by his own admission, he is looking for propaganda. He's looking for someone to rally other parts of the world into the conflict. He's looking to basically like tell fantastical stories and everything. And because of that kind of hero worship is what permeates through the public around the world for Lawrence at the end. But it's also, I don't know if that's necessarily I don't know if that necessarily goes to his head, but like there's that scene after the train thing. By the way, I'm probably going to be spoiling the whole movie, so I'm not going to play the bumper or anything, but by the way, probably going to just go ahead and spoil Lawrence of Arabia. So if you don't want to be spoiled or anything, then you know, skip around or whatever, but I'm not going to bother with the spoiler warning because the movie's like 64 years old. But 64, 74, 64. I don't know math. It sucks. Anyway, but there's a moment after the train robbery or train derailment or what have you, where he is he's shot by like I don't know if it was necessarily a kid, but a young man shoots him. and he just stands there frozen. And it's not frozen in fear or anything. It's more of this tempestuous freezing. Like, he is shot in the arm. It's merely a flesh wound, and he stands there, and it's like he's not begging for death or anything. It's more like this hubris is coming through, where what I brought into it was that he didn't think that he could die, or that he thinks that he's unstoppable because he's buying into this mythic thing that's being built around him by the Arabs and by the journalist. And I kind of like that as a way to get into the psyche of Lawrence, because later on he takes that to, and this is where we're getting into some slight spoilers and everything, but he takes that into the Turks, where he is captured by the Turks. And something I didn't really pick up on too closely in that last section of movie, but I have since read about and everything, is that there was the I guess implication. I mean, I did get this implication, but the implication that the Turks raped him. And it's like, from what I read, he did admit that in like letters, or in not really in his autobiography, but I think it was just in letters and correspondence. He had mentioned that they did rape him. And it's after that point, this is where I didn't really pick up on it too much. After that point, he becomes broken. Like, he is rescued by Ali from the base, or wherever the Turks were holding him. And after that, he has this, just, again, it's not a death wish. It's not a death wish. It's like the luster of what he believes himself to be because of all of the stuff that's written about him and all the celebrations around him. That it seems like it seems like the torturing and probable rape that the Turks did on him broke him to the point where he is just seeking out extreme things, like extreme violence. Really, he's not even relishing, but like he's more aggressive, and it's less of a bravado thing. It's less of a like, oh, I'm untouchable. It's that it's like I'm broken now, and I don't really have much to lose, so I'm gonna go ahead and not think clearly when we do these skirmishes and we do all of these things. And he ends up like brutalizing people. And there's that scene where even the reporter is saying, like, what was he saying? He said like, my God, or something. He says Jesus wept. He's looking at the aftermath and like the carnage and everything. He's like, Jesus wept. And then Ali is like, well, like sniting him. I think he was like sniting him, saying like, oh yeah, us Arabs are ruthless and we're savages and everything. Like, aren't we? He's like doing that in a pointed way. It's like, your Lawrence did this. It's not us, it's Lawrence. And like, but we're the ones who have to bear the brunt of like the assumptions that our people are uncivilized or are willing to do these horrible things when it's your guy. I like that scene a lot. So probably going to kind of wind down a little bit. Again, the visual effects, the footage, the filmmaking aspect of it was glorious. Like, it is jaw-dropping. There's a scene where it's when Ali is first introduced. I also read that they used a special lens with like a 400 and some millimeter lens, like something that's ridiculously like long focused, I guess. I don't know much about cameras. Welcome to the Obsessive Viewer. But anyway, with this extraordinarily long focus, and you just get this like mirage vision of the desert. Like, we're seeing like a speck in the distance that eventually becomes Ali. And like, it's really hypnotizing. It's really hypnotic. And I'm so glad that I got to see it on the big screen, because it popped on there. It was beautiful. And also, this is just an errant thought here, but there's a quicksand scene Like, again, we're in spoilers, we're spoiling the movie, but like there's a quicksand scene in this. And I think that's interesting because, like, I don't know. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect like someone to die in quicksand. But yeah, one of the companions that are like orphans, it gets sucked up into quicksand. And that's also a bit that I thought was interesting in terms of humanizing Lawrence. Because at the end of the day, this does a good job of showcasing a three-dimensional character with Lawrence. Like, from what I understand, it took a lot of liberties, it's a very fictionalized account of Lawrence's life, especially at this point in his life. But it does, I gotta hand it to it does do a good job, even though I wasn't as invested or wasn't as connected to the character arc and the characterization of Lawrence throughout the movie. It does do a great job of giving us a full-fledged character, very, very like layered and three-dimensional, and someone who is, by the end of the movie, is just living under the weight of his stature in the world and still not having a place, still not having like even a name, like a birthright or anything. He's just a guy. Like, he doesn't have that like sense of bravado or anything. He's just kind of isolated and alone, and he doesn't really have that much really going for him. But the quicksand was cool. Oh, that's where I was getting at. The quicksand scene was intense. It was terrifying. And the way that kind of is another breaking point for Lawrence, where he even says, like, when he goes back to, I think it's in Cairo, when he's talking to the other British soldiers and everything, he says that, or maybe it was with the Turks, I don't know, but he says that he killed two people. He killed a guy that he had previously saved in the desert, and he killed him for killing another person of another tribe. And then he at one point says that he liked the killing of him, like he enjoyed it, which is interesting. But then he also says that he also killed the boy, like he killed the kid, when it was more that, circumstance, like he couldn't save the kid. It was not that he killed him, it was that he couldn't save him. So I thought that was interesting, an interesting like window into Lawrence kind of carrying the pain of what has come before. And I think that happens before the Turks take him and everything. So I think if that is the case, then it's interesting, not foreshadowing, but it's an interesting hint at what the rest of the movie would be in terms of having him internalize like his experience and not really coming out the other side in a place of happiness or approval of his actions or approval of the British Army's actions or anything. And just, I don't know, it kind of paints him in his mind as a failure. And I think that that's an interesting contrast to what people were talking about him at his memorial in the first scene. By the way, I forgot to mention at the top, you can stream this on Netflix. It is streaming on Netflix right now. So if you've gone through this far and haven't seen it, I do say watch it. Like it's a classic for a reason. Like it is jaw-dropping. Apparently the production was ridiculously complicated, ridiculously long, and very, very tough to do. It took a long time. There were setbacks and everything. I think that there was to a point where they demanded like a 2-month break or something. Like someone demanded a 2-month break and they got it. And like Alec Guinness, shot another movie somewhere, like two of the actors like filmed another movie during their break. But yeah, and also the harsh conditions of filming in the desert and filming in those conditions, they had to either truck in or helicopter in water from like hundreds of miles away or something like that, just to have water on set and to do that. Yeah, it's a really interesting movie. It's a very good movie that some of it, I don't want to say some of it went over my head, but it was something that I just wasn't as keyed into as I was hoping to be. But it is, if you have a chance to see it in the theater, it is well worth it. It is just stunning stunning in terms of looking at it on a screen, on a big screen. I've heard it compared to like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's one of those movies that needs to be experienced in the theater. And I totally agree with that. I think that that is absolutely the case. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that that's all I've got for Lawrence of Arabia. Great movie. I'm glad that I watched it. I ended up rating it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. And I'm not someone who gets too hung up on my ratings or anything, but part of me is I want to rate this 5 stars. Like, I want to give this 5 stars because of what it is and how just like jaw-droppingly gorgeous it is, and how like the craft of filmmaking is like the craft of filmmaking yielding this masterpiece is just incredible. Like, the importance of Lawrence of Arabia to film is undeniable. The reason I give it 4.5 stars, not that I have to explain why I give 4.5 stars or why I give a certain rating, but the thing that held me back from doing 5 stars just out of pure stature of the movie is that it didn't, like, by the end of it, I was kind of like, I didn't feel as connected to Lawrence as I was hoping to in the moment. I eventually got to that. I like, especially talking it out here to myself on the podcast, but it wasn't like an emotional experience for me. It wasn't like a situation where I, like, for instance, like I saw the TV glow. I wasn't like emotionally affected by it, but I was very much impressed with it on a technical aspect and the history of it in terms of what it means for film in general. So that's my rationale for rating it 5 stars, or 4.5 stars instead of 5 stars. Please still support me on Patreon, unless I completely lost all credibility for my movie knowledge or anything. But anyway, that is it for my review of Lawrence of Arabia. Once again, it is streaming on Netflix. And if you can see it in a theater, go see it in a theater, like 100%. This is a movie that deserves to be seen in a theater. Yeah. And I mean, I would also go so far as to say is don't be the people that were sitting next to me because they left after the intermission. But anyway, I mean, you can, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want. So anyway, that'll do it for my review of Lawrence of Arabia, streaming on Netflix. 4.5 stars from Matt, from Millennial Matt, as I've fashioned myself, I guess. And then, yeah, so now I'm going to go to my second review of this back half blind spots episode. This podcast was produced and edited by me, Matt Hurt. If you want to connect, you can email me at matt@obsessiveviewer.com. For more information and a full archive of our episodes, show notes, and spin-off podcasts, visit obsessiveviewer.com. Our theme song is A Little Mad Sometimes by As Good As It Gets. For more of their music, check them out on Spotify and Bandcamp. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.